Well, hello, my name's Penny. If it's the first time we're meeting, I live in the southeast of England with my husband Pete and my 4 chickens. So that's the introductions. Glad to have you along and thank you so much for watching. When I first started this morning, I thought, what am I going to talk about? But that soon passes and I find I have too much. So I'm going to tell you a fascinating fact about science and nature. Pete's done a little bit. There's a little film. Honestly, it's something and nothing. Because the weather, it's either been drizzly or windy or dark, just not inviting. So as you can see here, it's a little bit brighter. I mean, it's midday, so it should be. But it's a bit windy and it's damp and it doesn't encourage you to go out at all. So I took a few little snaps of the wildlife in the garden. I'll introduce that at the end though, but it's no great shakes. But it's life, isn't it? It'll be different in the summer or in the spring. Oh, I'm looking forward to that. So it is as it is. Let me start with Penelope's Chinwag. I don't know if you noticed, but I've changed the logo. One of the wedding ring shapes as my logo, all the little bits cut. And that was Penelope's Chinwag. But then, let me do this. Put that down gently. I'm going to talk to you about that. That made me laugh. I finished. Do you remember I said I was going to do the embroidery? Well, I've done it. There it is. Now, when I was doing it, she put the little green door or something like that. It's from the stitchery. Last week I showed you the kit. My daughter gave it to me. And I thought, what can I put there? I thought first things first. That applies to everything, doesn't it? We might have important things to do, so we do them. We might have crafting to do, so we do that. It can apply to a lot of things. First things first. But the trouble was with the first, the T, and then things. So those 2 T's got jumbled up, and it's very, very small. And I thought, you put a logo there. What logo could I think of? Doing Penelope's Chinwag. So I thought, it came to me. It took about 10 minutes, but it came to me, Chinwag. So that's what I did. It was very sparse. If you look at last week's, I just really filled it in. And I didn't do it with her silks because in one of the, I forget what episode it is, I'll put it here. I show you Lorna Bateman's silks and they're all variegated. So I used those and I think it's nice. So then, of course, I made one of my new project bags. I'm really pleased with it. It's lovely. And, look, the fabric is Strawberry Thief. Let me see if I can get you a bit. There we are. Strawberry Thief it's called. It's a famous design. And this is a Liberty Tana Lawn. They're very hard wearing. Tana Lawn feels like silk, but because there's more threads to the inch, it's very, very strong. So I thought that would be ideal. So I made that because I love it. My grandson, Nicholas, I can never remember my grandchildren's ages. I just can't. It's impossible. Is he 30 or 31? Anyway, it doesn't matter. You don't need to know. But that's him anyway, big, tall, strapping lad. But he suffers from Raynaud's disease. And that means the extremities, the blood doesn't get to it. It's not very nice. It can get, very cold, very white. So I said to him, would you like a pair of socks? Surprisingly, he said, yes, please, Nan. And I said, what colour would you like? And he said, any colour. I'm known for my socks at work. So I thought, right, go for it. So I've knitted them quite long. And I tell you what, this hasn't taken me any time at all. I realise it's because I do a pattern on Pete's. That's why they take me a week each sock. Because when you're doing, 3 rib or a twist or whatever, it takes a lot longer. So I've just done a plain vanilla sock and it hasn't really taken me much time at all. And so I've gone for it, really. I thought I'll get him out. But I'm just going to send him the one. He takes a size 10 shoe. So, of course, Pete's been trying them on. And, Pete takes an 8.5. So I've made it that much bigger. And I've made it quite long because I thought with Raynaud's disease, he wants it to come up the leg. He's going to wear these to keep warm. So here they are. Yep, there they are. Nice. Bit jazzy, eh? Now, I will say it because people are honest on their vlogs. I noticed that. This is an Anna and Carlos wool. And whilst the wool is beautiful, I wasn't too happy with the way it knitted. Because when I've had opal and I've done a striped sock, it's perfection. It goes round. I wonder if it's the number of stitches you use. I don't know, but when I knit them for me, the opal socks, they're perfection. So maybe it's just what happens when you knit a size bigger and it's always just worked out. Because you just get a little jag. You see? And I wasn't happy with that. But I mean, in the scheme of things, does it matter? I was quite pleased. I started it with the blue. I unwound it to start and I'm going to start the next one at the same point. So they are both the same because I thought it would be a bit much if they aren't. So I'm hoping, and I was quite pleased. I got to that point and then thought this is the time for the heel. So it's worked out, with that banding and then that banding. Yeah. It's a Regia wool, but it's a beauty. That's going to be a hard wearing sock. I might do some for Pete. And I knitted it on a 72 stitch, which is what I do for Pete. It came up enormous. So I went down to, I went down 8 stitches actually. I mean, it was knitting up like that on a 2.5 needle. So it must be a thicker wool than I'm used to. I don't know. But I did that on 68 stitches. No, 64 stitches. And I think Pete's put them on and they're nice, close fitting. They're not baggy. And hopefully that's a 10.5 shoe. If not, all I've got to do is, as you know, just undo the toe. Oh, look, like a little mountain. Just undo the toe and take it back down to there. It's been no problem at all. But I having him not here to try it on. So I've knitted one. I'm going to send it and then see what he says. So that's all trial and error really, isn't it? Got lots to show you this week. I wanted to show you this because I wore it last week and someone commented. And it's by Faye Page. I bought it from Faye Page. And she lives on the Isles of Scilly on St Martin's. And she makes everything herself from inspiration from the Scillies. I'll just have a slurp. And I wanted to show you what I chose. Could do with a bit of a clean. I must get some wearing it. Apparently my friend told me wearing silver keeps it clean. But of course, not going out much. I haven't worn it. But the fish have all got names. So this is Smitten. Can you see with a bite out of him? That's Smitten. No, that's Bitten. Yeah, that's Bitten. And that's Smitten. So that's Pete and me. Bitten and Smitten. And then this is our friend who we go to the Isles of Scilly with all the time. She's absolutely gorgeous. It's Dottie. She's Dottie. She's not in real life. She's jolly sensible. We've had a lot of fun at the Isles of Scilly. So Bitten, Smitten and Dottie. So I just thought I'd show you those. They're K, is it K? Page. Faye Page on St Martin's. I'll put it here for you to see. But she does some beautiful things. My friend bought the most gorgeous gold starfish. it is, the detail on her things are lovely. So I wanted to show you that. Then I wanted to show you this. I had to read it. I was telling my brother when we go out, I wear 2 masks. I make them. And most crafters do, don't they? But I wear 2, one up here and one down there. You know, they meet in the middle. And so he sent me, just by pure, he must have felt sorry for me, some of these proper masks. You've probably seen it, and they come with these. And you pop them in. I haven't opened it. I must read you what it says. Health tips. Trade name mask. This product is a fashion dust mask. This product bag can be recycled. The mask can be put back into the bag after use. Well, thank you, I want to say. Carry this product. Please divide the opposite side. Do not wear back. Anti-external will stick dust powder. Direct contact between mouth and nose will be detrimental to health. Wash the poison once a day. Wash it with warm water first, then hot, and hot to dry. Well, I thought I was going a little bit funny due to isolation and all of that, but it's obviously got to somebody. But I notice it's a new low-carbon green life made in China. So they haven't got the right dictionary, I don't think. But there we are. Thank you, Chris. That's my brother in Ireland. And his darling daughter went down with COVID. And so love to her. She's shut in her room at the moment. Oh, very posh. Well, that's it then. Oof, I think I'll wash it before I put it on. You never know with poison, do you? Right. What else have I got to show you here? Wait a minute, I'm just going to go off and have a think. I'll just pause it for a second. Right, well, I've had a little think, and of course what I'm going to do next is introduce you to the fascinating fact, and it's about an elephant's trunk this week. So I'll let you watch that, and then I'll come back on and we'll have a little chat about that. I'll see you in a minute then. Researchers are developing a robotic arm with improved dexterity and flexibility. The head of corporate design at the company developing the device says that the new arm goes far beyond anything currently available in industrial automation. What was the source of inspiration? The nature of the elephant's trunk, he says. Weighing some 300 pounds or 140 kilograms, the elephant's trunk has been called the most versatile and useful appendage on the planet. The multi-purpose tool can serve as a nose, a straw, an arm, or a hand. With it, the elephant can breathe, smell, drink, grab, or even trumpet a deafening blast. But that's not all. The elephant's trunk has some 40,000 muscle fibers that allow it to move in any direction. Using the tip of its trunk, the elephant can pick up a small coin. At the same time, the elephant can use its trunk to lift loads of up to some 600 pounds or 270 kilograms. Researchers hope that imitating the dexterous properties of the elephant's trunk will help them develop superior robots for domestic and industrial use. We have created a completely new assistance system compared to conventional robots, says a representative from the company mentioned earlier, which for the first time enables humans and machines to work together efficiently and without danger. So another fascinating fact about the elephant's trunk. And when you look up about elephants, well, what I learned from looking it up is they're so intelligent and they can feel compassion and humour and grief. They've got great learning capacities. They're very self-aware. They're an amazing animal. They've got immense intelligence. Right, so what am I going to chat about now? Well, I've been thrown into a bit of a tizzy because I haven't told you yet, but little Tom has been born. And Lois and my daughter Nicola is coming round. And I'm hoping that we're going to have some photos and they're going to introduce me to baby. He's a couple of days old now. And yeah, so he's very new. And he's very new to come out. But yeah, it's very special. So I'm waiting for them to come. So I'm all of a tither. So what I'm going to do now is introduce you to Pete's little chat. He did a little bit about him, where he lived when he was born, and how he feels about how his mum felt, because it was January 1945. They didn't know when the war was going to end. And listening to my mum, yeah, it's really given him a different insight as to how it must have been for his mum carrying him during the war and then giving birth in the January. So I'll pop that up now and then I'll have a little chat with you afterwards. Okay, so we're going to have a little chat about not that I was going to say the day Pete was born, but he was born in 23rd of January 45. And it wasn't really until Mum started doing her little, talking about that you realised what life was like then in 1945 and what life must have been like for your mum carrying you for 9 months and not knowing when the war was going to end and how it all was.
It was a pretty scary time as well.
Yeah.
Because, they'd gone through the Blitz at the beginning of the war and then they thought the war was coming, getting near. They could see an end to the war, and obviously when I was being carried. But they didn't realise what was coming, and it was as bad as the Blitz. But in some ways it was worse than the Blitz because you never got any warning. You got warning of the buzz bombs, the V1, which is the first one that came over, because you could hear it and you knew it was going to. You were close if it stopped. If the engine stopped, then
you had to dive for cover.
Yeah. Mum said she used to just hold her breath.
Yeah, you can imagine your mum being 9 months pregnant and all of the bomb, and the V2s you didn't hear, did you?
Didn't even come. They went faster than the speed of light. Not light, sound.
Yeah.
And so they used to hit the ground. And then, you'd hear it afterwards.
Yeah, right. So a very scary time. And so Bowes Road, that was, it's now the North Circular Road around London. It was then, right. But it wasn't quite...
No, it wasn't like the North Circular Road we know of today.
No, what was it like? You remember growing up there?
Well, when I was old enough to look out the window and that, all I seem to remember was... army vehicles, loads and loads of army vehicles going by, and gypsy caravans.
Army vehicles and gypsies.
They were the two, and then of course all the tradesmen. Most of the tradesmen were horse-drawn.
Lots of them had horses, didn't they? So there was quite a few horses around.
Oh, lots, yeah.
Yeah. And you told me that you used to wave to the soldiers on the back.
Oh, I used to like, they used to, because they waved back.
Yeah.
And
so as a little lad, seeing all those great big...
Well, there was massive stuff, because the war was over, but there was still quite a lot of people in the army, and of course it wasn't long before the Korean War started.
Yeah.
I can't think what time it was, but there was a lot of army vehicles.
Yeah.
But some of them might have been driven to a dump or something, because just digress a little bit. When I moved to Potter's Bar, we used to go over the scrapyard, and in that scrapyard was loads and loads of army equipment,
All right.
already, all being prepared. And that was when I was, 12? About 12. We'd go and play in them. had little armoured cars, and some of them still had the swivel thing on top where the gun was, and we used to, protect. Not at 12, we were about 8 then, but.
Oh, quite exciting, yeah. So you watched all the army convoys going by and the gypsies, and what were the gypsies like? They weren't in great
proper
big...
Romanies.
Right.
And their caravans were something else,
Were they?
Well, they had the really big ones.
Yeah.
And then they had the small ones that looked like, the American wagon trains. That they used to come along, and her mum always said, I don't know how they keep their places so clean, because as they went by, you could sometimes the lady would be leaning on the back doors.
Yeah.
They had like a what do you call it when the top door opens, top of the door?
Yeah.
Oh, we had one in.
Yeah.
I can't remember what they're called now. Anyway, and she'd be resting her arms and looking, and she'd have a gold stable door. That's it. And they'd have the gold earrings on, and the ringlets, the long hair.
Just as you imagine a gypsy.
And then you could see inside.
Romany. We call them Romanies, yeah.
And you could see inside their caravans, and they had all this beautiful brass and all polished, and glass.
It really left an impression on you.
And Mum used to say.
And what a difference between army vehicles and the Romanies, But that was a big impression that you had growing up. And then something happened. Your mum, you said the women of the day, front door steps or windows. Oh,
crumbs, yeah. Well, that's 3 things that had to be spotless.
Oh, 3.
Well, it was the windows, the curtains, and the doorstep.
The nets, you mean?
Yeah, the nets.
Oh,
the nets. And if any of those weren't polished or clean. Right. You've been looked on as
right, and so you picked that up. Your mum saying, "Oh, I'm going to do the net."
And because we lived in the ground floor, we didn't really have to do the step, but Mum always
lived on the top floor.
The top floor, yeah. The people on the ground floor should have done the step.
Yeah,
I think Mum did, because they were a bit older than Mum, I think.
Oh, she did it. Yeah.
And the other thing I remember is because it was paving slabs then.
Right.
The pavement was paving slabs.
Yeah.
And if one got damaged, which sometimes it did, with the vibration and that of the lorries going by.
Yeah.
The blokes would come along, they'd take it out, put some more sand down, put another block down. It was all done clean, and within minutes, You
just remember watching those
Just
men.
Watching them do it, putting out the old one, chucking it right.
So that's your childhood memories. But then one day, your mum was doing the windows, wasn't she?
Yeah, but I didn't think we were going to talk about that. It's another story, isn't it?
Well, what is the story then?
Where
are you going now then? Is that it finished?
No.
Right, tell me then.
All right, I'll tell the story, Mum.
No, tell me what else. What were you going to say?
Oh, Mrs. Paulson next door.
Yeah.
That's another big memory.
Oh, Mrs. Paulson, right.
Well, not a Paulson, so, because her 2 boys, they were a bit older than me, and she lived on the ground floor, the next door neighbour, next door, and her back garden was just a mud patch.
Right.
With an apple tree.
Yeah.
And an air raid shower. And I used to go there and play, but when I was about 3, Mum would say, go and, Mrs. Paulson would say, let him come down and play, She was a really lovely lady. And her 2 boys, and we used to muck about and climb the tree and all that. And the funny thing about the apple tree was, when I was 5 years old, Mum and Dad got a notice that they had to quit because the houses were going to be knocked down.
Yeah.
And it was going to make a dual carriageway. Up till about 10, 15 years ago, that road hadn't been turned into a dual carriageway.
Yeah.
And for a long time, since we moved down here, every time I went up Bowes Road, the apple tree would still be there. And it was the only thing left.
On the verge.
It was further back, but because now it's all been done.
Yeah.
But, it was over 50 odd years before
50 odd years later.
We had to get out, yeah.
Yeah.
So that was just a little aside.
Yeah, but tell the story about your mum, what she did, cleaning the windows.
Well, Mum used to clean her windows, and they were sash windows. And to do the outside, didn't have ladders or anything. So what she'd do, she'd lift the window up, and then she'd sit outside with her legs in the house, and close it on her legs so you didn't fall. Because if you might have fallen back and fallen out the window, although she was out the window, but her legs weren't.
Yeah.
And this day she's cleaning away, and her arm went through the window. It broke.
Right.
And she cut her wrist. And I was only about 2 or 3, and I can remember. Well, not 2. I was about 3 or 4 actually. And I can remember her coming, telling me, "Quick, go and get Mrs. Paulson, go and get Mrs. Paulson."
So you had to go downstairs.
Well, yeah, and so...
Go next door.
Yeah.
So you got Mrs. Paulson.
So I went and got Mrs. Paulson. Mrs. Paulson came running up. Mum had put her arm in a towel, and it was all blood and everything. And then I can't remember what happened after, really. All I know is Mum was taken to the hospital.
Yeah.
Now, an ambulance came to take her. Now, that's a mystery to me. This is one of the things I'd like to have asked Mum.
Yeah.
Nobody had phones.
Yeah.
How did the ambulance come?
Yeah.
Probably run down to the Wonderloaf, which was on the corner. Maybe someone used the phone there.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
But anyway, an ambulance did come and take her away.
Right.
And Mrs. Paulson gave me a big slab of bread and jam, and made me feel better.
And Mum was all right.
She came back that day, and she had all her arm done.
Yeah. And
she told me, years later, when we used to talk about it, that the doctor said if it had been a quarter of an inch closer, it had gone through the main artery. And
so she was lucky.
Yeah, she was very lucky.
So that's a couple of stories about those roads.
Trying to keep your windows clean.
Yes.
Without a ladder and without a...
So we don't do that sort of thing, do we?
No, well, you get someone to do it. They didn't have anybody to do it. No, you couldn't afford to have window cleaners.
Right, so we'll love you and leave you then.
Yeah,
and,
that's
we'll
my
see
first
you next
memories
time.
of Bowes Road.
We'll see you next time.
See you next time. Bye.
So talking about the Romany caravans, my friend sent me, my friend Sonia, she sent me a photo of her when she was a little girl. And Sonia's a very dear friend. In fact, Sonia, I made this scrapbook. I mean, this was long before the days of when people kept, what's it called, those books, what they do. You keep all, anyway, my brain's gone now. I'm too excited to meet Tommy. Anyway, so I just thought I'd come on board. Whoops. Oh, Pete's sending me through a photo of his mum. I'm going to put that up. So photos of his mum just to show you what she looked like. And so this is a scrapbook I made. Well, many a year ago. It's got my wedding ring. £8, 10 shillings. My brother, a little note from him. Oh, look. This is my brother. He always insisted on having his socks over his knees. And he sent me a note. Penny, caught hamster. Hope there's a reward. Chris. P.S. That's 2 times I caught him. Then I got one here from my dad. I wish I'd dated them. Penny, in view of the fact that you are our number 1 daughter, well, I was his only daughter, and that you work so hard in the house and that you always look after Chris when we want to go out, and that if anything has to be bought from the shops, that you're the first to rush down, and that you're such a clever girl at school, and that you're all doing so well at music, and that you always take Toby for his walks, that's our dog, and that you'd go without your pocket money if needed. You can go out Friday night. But in little print there, P.S. Please may we go out Saturday night. That's the sort of notes I'd get from my dad, I tell you. What else have I got in here? Well, he came up one Sunday morning. Oh, this is going off piste, isn't it? He came up one Sunday morning and said, "You're in the paper." I said, "Oh, yes." Well, just because I was a mod, you see, just because I had my hair cut like that. He said, "It's you." I said, "It isn't, Dad." He pretended he thought that was me. Changing faces. Rockers are hunched. We hope to stay smart forever, not shoddy like our parents. What a thing to quote. It's absolute rubbish. Powys Lane. Oh, do you remember me saying Powsy Lane? If you've watched one before, Pete always called the road Powsy Lane. That's what his family called it. But it's Powys Lane, and this is what it looked like. Long before we knew it, obviously. Enfield Libraries, that's when it was a lane. And then, my first... 2nd of the 12th, 1968, my first gas bill. Guess how much it was? £2.06 and 7p. I don't know. Anyway, this is what I got it out for, because my friend wrote a poem about a gypsy vardo, and vardo is a Romany word for caravan, she says. And I stuck it in my book, Sonia. She said to me, "Oh, have you got it?" Of course I've got it. So I'm going to read it to you now. I remember an old gypsy vardo, retired at the end of its run, which stately reposed in an orchard, its cream paint reflecting the sun. As children we played in that orchard, exquisite the memory now. The yellow hay tickled my bare feet, the apple leaves rustled my brow. I remember my mother sat shelling some peas on the steps of the van, her cotton skirt caught by the warm breeze, the clatter of peas in the pan. Her swarthy face gleamed in the sunlight, her dark hair was held by a comb. She looked up and smiled at us playing. We grinned back and knew this was home. I remember my father leaned sawing some logs he had dragged from the wood. The rustic armchairs that he made us were gnarled and were barky, but good. And sometimes we'd go off together, my cousin, my sister and me. We'd walk through the woods, cross the meadow, and make our way down to the sea. Not once did our feet touch on concrete, just soft grass and warm rocks and sand. At twilight we'd come back, exhausted, bedraggled and joyful and tanned. At nightfall we'd climb in the vardo. To bed then our mum would us send. With 2 bunks between we 3 children, we took turns to sleep end to end. How peaceful the sleep we enjoyed then. How happy our life would then seem. Now sometimes I think back and savour. Sweet childhood, it seems like a dream. That is so lovely, Sonia. And I daren't tell you what I found. I couldn't read it now. I'd be too emotional. Much too emotional. There's a little note here from my one daughter to the other. But there's a beautiful poem Sonia wrote called First Sunset. And there's another poem to me called Dear Friend. I can't read it at the moment. It'll be buckets. Absolute buckets. You know what it says, Sonia. But it is such a special poem. And maybe next time I'll read it, shall I? But with Tommy arriving, I feel so emotional. Here's my 2 girls going off to school. And this is who's coming with Tommy. Yeah, she's a nan. She knows how it feels. And then a poem I wrote, 1979. Oh, I can't read it now. I'll be in buckets. I'll read it next time. And a picture of Pete. That's at our engagement. I didn't like the one of me, so I didn't. I just thought that was so nice of him. That's the Pete I know. And then, of course, when I got married, I'd watched the Wooden Tops growing up. And we haven't done it in TA yet, but there's something called a rubber band. And it's like you have a rubber band back, and you rubber band back to the past. And when I got married, I rubber banded back to the past. And the past happened to be the Wooden Tops. And there was Mummy Wooden Top and Daddy Wooden Top, Baby Wooden Top. And unfortunately, they had a Dalmatian. So somewhere, I didn't know it at the time, but somewhere in the recesses of my brain, I thought, I've got to have a Dalmatian. Oh, I had him for 11 years. He lived till he was 11. But it wasn't easy. Having a new baby and a big bouncing dog. Here he is. Out in our garden. We had a little garden in Melbourne Way in Enfield. Oh, he would never come back if you called him. He wasn't a good dog, but he was adorable. The little film that's going to come up after this is, well, we've been stuck in. It's been misty. We got out one day. So there's a little film of one day, just walking along the sea into Broadstairs. And then the rest of it's through the window. You get a reflection. It picks up on it's all a bit blurry. However, watch out for the green woodpecker's tongue. Woof! It comes out. It's worth seeing. I've never caught that before. So there's a green woodpecker in the tree. Whoomph! His tongue comes out. So that's worth seeing. It's too exciting here to do TA. So yeah, I'm just waiting for them to come in, and I'm hoping they're going to come in and say hello to you. Yeah. So that's it. That's Chinwag this week. It's all been a bit of a blur, hasn't it? But never mind. We talked about discounts in TA last week, and my friend phoned me this morning, and she had a bit of a problem. And she said, you won't know the answer to this. I said, well, that's a perfect discount, isn't it? What can I do with that? And she said, oh, yes, I'll rephrase it. Yes. Interesting, isn't it? And she said, I don't know what you'll answer to this. You might know the answer, you might not. Well, I can do something with that. But she said, you won't know the answer to this. And that's the discount. All clear, they're coming in. I'm going to see my great-grandson. I want to do it on camera. It's quite moving, isn't it? So I'm going to say cheerio, because I'll probably be bawling in a minute. But I want you to see him on camera. They're going to come in. Oh, how exciting. Never mind discounts and TA. This is more exciting. And would you believe it? The conservatory's a mess because the electrics have gone down. Oh, the house is always a mess in times of... There's the bell. I heard it. It's always a mess in times like that, isn't it? Can you hear? Hooray. I'm waiting for them. I'm going to cry. I'm crying already. Can they come in?
Yeah, they're all fine.
Can they come in?
Yes, they're all fine. They're waiting for you to come and take a photograph of them.
No, I want them to come in.
Oh, you want them to come in?
Yes.
Oh, well, come into the...
Yes.
Oh, I got it wrong.
Yeah, he got it wrong. I said, could you send them through? He always does. He doesn't listen. He hears, but he doesn't listen. He thinks, I've got to go out there. No, I want them in here. Here they come. Oh, you're sharing family moments now, aren't you? Oh, dear. Come on in, come on. Say hello.
Hello.
Well, I'm doing Chinwag this morning. And this is and where's baby?
Here's baby.
Oh, hello, Kai.
Yeah, you're right.
Oh, you want to see the little darling. £6.12 he was. Oh, look. Here's little Tommy. You're seeing him the first time with me. Look, here he is. Oh, he's... Let's take this off. Oh, darling wee boy. What a darling wee boy. Oh, how absolutely gorgeous. And the whole place, I've said, the whole place is in absolute... It's in uproar. Look, all of the electrics has gone here. Well, here he is. So I'm going to say cheerio now. I've done Chinwag. And I'll leave you with a view of Tommy. Little Tommy. Oh, I just want to put 2 big lips on him. I have to.
On his head.
Do you mind?
Top on his
You see?
He's got big.
It's Rodney and Del Boy, isn't it? I said that.
Lois.
Oh, are you all right sitting down? I know that
Yeah,
feeling.
it's that horrible
Oh.
It's a baby.
feeling. It's a baby. We did it.
Do you
We're going to
remember
say
that bit?
cheerio now. Bye.